You are listening to The Art of Sales. Everyone sells every day, and this is your source for conversational, real-world sales and prospecting methods that you are comfortable using and that get results. You'll help people buy instead of pushing them into being sold. Here's your host, Art Sobczak.
I was going through some old files in my storage area when I was doing some research for a training program. Well, a few minutes turned into a couple of hours as I got consumed sifting through articles and newsletters that I had written, notes on workshops that I had delivered, random scribbles on slips of paper, and a lot of other stuff. And this was all dating back to the 80s and the early 90s. Not surprisingly, to me anyway, almost all of it is just as relevant today as it was when I first read it, wrote it, or spoke it. So today, I'm going to share with you some of the stuff that I found, and it's just going to be a sampling of some of the nuggets that I pulled out of the files. So today, instead of one topic, I'm going to share with you a bunch of little brief statements and tips, okay? All right, here we go. So it doesn't matter how many times you've not succeeded in meeting your objective in the past. Someone would call it failure, but that's negative. Your past performance should only serve to be a learning experience for your next actions. Here's something I had in a file from 1991 that is even more relevant today given the nature of online ordering. So there's 3 good reasons to call customers to confirm orders that they placed by mail, through a customer service rep, or online. Number 1, you ensure that the order is accurate. Number 2, you show the customer that you care about getting it right. And number 3, very importantly, you get another opportunity to cross-sell or upsell. And you don't have that if you just take the order without a human conversation. Next, just a brief quote. Action is the best way to overcome the fear of anything in sales, especially the fear of picking up the phone. Next, what we're all capable of achieving is a matter of our own perspectives. We place limitations on ourselves erroneously. For example, would you be able to quickly walk or run on a long, say 24-inch wide plank of wood? Of course you would. Now, what if it was raised 50 feet up in the air between 2 buildings? Now, would that be any different? Well, if so, it's the same wood, right? Now it's just a self-imposed limitation. So what other similar beliefs are holding you back right now? Oh, here's a tip for when you're speaking on the phone. Be sure you're facing straight ahead when you're talking on the phone. If your chin is too high or pressing against your chest, you're not going to sound natural. Here's a myth that holds people back. Better safe than sorry. You ever heard that before? What a bunch of crap that is. You'll feel worse about the risks that you didn't take in life than the ones you acted on. Instead, ask yourself, what's the worst thing that could happen if I took this action? Most people who lack motivation also lack a purpose. Let's say you were offered $100,000 to get a relatively easy task done in a short period of time. You'd likely do it, right? You'd find a way to get it done. You'd have a strong purpose, the reward, and you'd have that deadline. Now, put it in a different perspective. What is something that you really passionately would like to achieve? Set that as a target. Okay, so now you have a purpose. Then set a deadline and go after it. Almost like you were being offered that $100,000 to get it done. And actually, it might be worth more to you than that, right? You're never going to graduate from the school of sales. The person who doesn't read is worse off than the person who can't read. Some people say, I can't do that. Now, other people have a technique they use when they're closing. And the assumptive question is, what's the best way to get this done? So apply that to anything that you might be thinking that you can't do. What's the best way to get this done? Your attitude and performance is normally a reflection of those that you associate with. If you hang with whiners and low achievers, it's like having this ball and chain around your leg and you're trying to run a race. People will either pull you up or pull you down or drag you down to their level. All right, so you're in a sales situation. Instead of thinking, what points can I present? Think instead, what questions can I ask? Also, before a call, instead of thinking, how can I sell this person? Ask yourself, how can I help this person? Or better yet, why would this person be interested in anything I have? And then that's going to drive your planning, your questioning, and then, of course, you're only going to recommend based on the answers to the questions. And finally, here's something that's even more relevant today than it was in 1989 when I had thrown it in a file. And I've suggested it at least 1,000 times since then. If you really want to make an impression with a prospect or a customer, send a handwritten note in an envelope addressed by hand with an actual live first-class stamp. Those things are always opened and read, and they're more rare today than they were back in 1989 when I first wrote that. All right, so hope you enjoyed these brief tips, and they really point out that the more things change, the more they stay the same or get more important. All right, hey, you know what time it is.
Your attitude will be iron every way, you'll never feel what they say. It's the art of the sales quote of the day.
That's right, it's time for the quote of the day. And today's quote, as usual, is going to tie into what I was talking about here today. And it comes from Ambrose Bierce. Ambrose was born in 1842, and he was an American short story writer, a journalist, poet, and Civil War veteran. And he had a really cool mustache if you look him up and you see those old-time photos. Okay, so anyway, Ambrose's quote was, "There's nothing new under the sun, but there are lots of old things that we don't know." Wow, pretty true, right? Hey, if you're getting value from this show, do a favor for a couple of other colleagues. Let them know about it. Send them to our show site, theartofsales.com. And if you're not already subscribe on your mobile device, whether it be Google Play or Apple Podcasts, whatever it might be. And another request for you, while you're there, could you leave me, please, a 5-star rating and a positive review? Reason being, in addition to I love seeing them, that it really helps other people find the show, and that's really more important, right? Hey, thank you so much for investing your valuable sales time with me today. Until next time, go out and make it your best sales day ever. I'm Art Sobczak.